What is going on in there?
Okay, ladies! Your wings can't fly, but your voices can!
Chicken! Pet the chicken! Pet the chicken!
So, Disney is celebrating 100 years of animation with the release of their new movie, Wish. I've seen it, I've checked it out, and if you check out the critic score versus the audience score, it's like day and night. One is saying 4 out of 10, the other one is saying 8 out of 10. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining why this divisive score. Obviously, spoilers ahead. I'm going to break down the plot a bit, give my own thoughts, and then wrap up everything and, just explain to you what I think about the film in general. So this film is about King Magnifico. He is this dude who's like a wizard. He starts a kingdom with his queen, Queen Amaya, and they have this thing where they grant wishes to people when they turn 18. Now, our main character is called Asha. Asha, she's 17 and she wants to sign up for the post of Magnifico's apprentice. She has a grandfather, so the grandfather is called Sabino. Sabino is turning 100, or it's his 100th birthday. And Asha, the girl, the main character, wants to go to the king and say, hey, my granddad is turning 100, you should grant his wish. So every year when people turn 18, the king hosts this ceremony where people come to him, they give him their wishes, and this wish comes in like an orb type shape, right? So this girl goes for the interview, and when she's there, she discovers that, hey, this king has all these wishes just sitting in his room, in his study, and he doesn't grant all of them. He only picks and selects the one that he'll grant. So she becomes very upset, and also this upsets the king, that she's upset, that it's like she called him out and now he's pissed about it. His ego is bruised or whatever. He hosts another ceremony. He grants the wish of someone else, not Sabino, not the granddad, to the girl. Of course, she doesn't get the job. And when she runs home, she ends up trying to tell her grandparents, hey, this guy has all our wishes sitting somewhere in his study. He just picks and chooses which one he wants. So they don't believe her, and she runs out crying and singing. And when she sings, she ends up wishing upon a star, and the star comes down. Everyone in the kingdom sees like this bright light, and then the star comes down. Okay, just up to that point where I've summarized the story, there are already many problems in my opinion. The first issue that I saw in this story is the main character. The main character, Asha, has been forced to become a main character. And let me explain to you what I mean by she has been forced to become a main character. You see, she only went for the interview because she wanted to use the interview to try and convince the king to grant the wish of the granddad. So my question is, why didn't they write the story? Why didn't the writers, the Disney writers, why didn't they write the story in a way that instead of having a granddad, maybe Asha has like an older brother who's like 25. And then maybe he really needs this wish to be granted, so he ends up going for the apprentice job and then using the apprentice job to try and get his wish made. You get my point? This girl has only been put there simply because I think the Disney writers wanted a female lead for this story. The female lead didn't need to exist. When I was watching the first 20 minutes of the film, I was asking, all this stuff that the girl just did, the signing up for the job, the talking to the king, running back home, telling everyone, this could have been done by a male lead, and that male lead could have been the granddad, because the granddad is the one who we want his wish to be come true, but instead the girl does it on her behalf. So I feel like the lead character is a forced lead character. Had you just removed her out of the story and had the granddad, instead of the granddad being granddad, maybe you make him younger, maybe like 25 or something. If you had a 25-year-old male lead doing all this stuff, the story would have still played out exactly the same way. I don't know why they needed to have a female lead. Maybe if you've watched this film, you can comment below and tell me. Number 2 has to do with need versus want. When I was watching this movie, the first 30 minutes were really boring in my opinion. And this is because of the way stories are written, need versus want. We typically like to follow characters that need something, not want something, right? For example, I may want 1 million views, right? Doesn't mean that you as the audience have to sit there and watch me get this 1 million views. Would you watch a movie about a YouTuber who wants 1 million views? It wouldn't seem interesting, right? But if, let's say, the story was about maybe I have a sickly wife, the story is about me trying to go and get a cure. I need to get a cure for my sickly wife, right? That would make a more compelling story, right? So it's need versus want. In this story, people just I wish this, but in essence, these wishes are not crucial to their lives. If they wanted to go about their lives without these wishes, they can very easily. If they want to proceed with their lives without these wishes being granted, it can happen very easily. I mean, the granddad of the main character, he put his wish when he was 18 and he's 100 now. And his wish has not been granted. So what is the urgency exactly? I don't understand. The urgency is completely arbitrary simply because the main character wants it to happen. Number 3 has to do with the contrived wishing star. So as I said, this girl tells her grandparents, oh, king is bad because he will not grant wishes. They don't believe her, and then she goes running out of the door. Then she wishes upon a star, then the star pops down and starts making the goat talk and making the forest come alive and whatever. My question is this. You're telling me that this is the only 18-year-old in a full kingdom who has ever looked up into the sky and wished for something? Am I the one who watched this movie wrong? I can't understand how in a full kingdom, people only put in their wishes when they are 18. So you're telling me when they were 17, 16, 15, they never ever looked up into the sky as kids and thought, I wish, I just wondered why specifically this chick. I wondered why in this full kingdom of millions and millions of people, why this chick who ends up like summoning this star to come down. To me, it felt very contrived. The next thing has to do with the fact that I think this film doesn't even really have a villain. Like, let me explain what I mean. The king is portrayed as bad. Let me put that in quotes, bad. Because, well, he picks and chooses whose wish he'll make come true. This isn't a bad thing. I mean, the power rests with him, and these people take their wishes to him willingly. So he's not forcing them. He's not draining it out of them. I mean, they do forget once they've made the wish about it, but I feel like that is just part of like the give and take of things. Like, he takes it out of you and he takes something with it because he intends to grant your wish someday. For some people might see it as like manipulative, but he chooses which wish should come true, right? So just because he picks which wish should come true and which one doesn't mean he's bad. What happens is that when the star comes down, he feels threatened, and then he ends up taking a book of spells that his wife tells him, that's not a good book. Stay away from it. But he takes this book of spells and then he starts like conjuring up some dark magic because he feels threatened. This part of the story is where now he becomes like the villain, and let me put that in quotes, but he only becomes the villain because he's being corrupted by the book. And from the book he makes this staff thing. So he's not really innately a villain. He began off as a good guy. I mean, someone can say this is a character arc, but me, I didn't see it as a character arc. I just felt like Disney wanted the main character to be a girl of color and then the evil person to be evil white man. That's the way I saw it. Because he started off as like a good person with some, like nobody in power is ever black and white evil or good. Most people are like a mixture. Most leaders are a mixture of the two. Good and bad a bit, right? In a human story. But I felt like he started off as like this mixture of good and bad, and then the story just completely turns up the dial to make him completely bad simply because we need generic evil white man as the evil villain of the story. At some point he becomes so evil in the story to the point that he starts doing the whole mirror on the wall like the evil queen in Snow White, which reminds me this movie also has like references to other movies for Disney like Bambi, Peter Pan, Fairy Godmother and stuff like that. It's okay, but I felt like they made him so generically evil that I was just so irritated with how the story played out in the end. And then when the king is defeated, it happens in the weirdest way. This chick, the main character, she ends up she's at the top of like a roof, and then she ends up telling people that, to sing and, make a wish. And then early on in the movie, it had been told that, everyone is made of stardust. So just like the wishing star thing, right? So everyone is made of stardust. So if they just sing and, make a wish, this guy will get trapped inside the staff. And that's exactly what happens. I was watching and I was like, hey, yo, what the fuck just happened? It was like the most contrived BS. I was like, what just happened? It was such a like Disney fairy type ending that made no sense to me. Speaking of singing, there's a lot of music. In the first hour, you are hit with music like after every 10 minutes. The very first song was good. After that, they become a bit generic. Then the ending song is a bit good. The talking goat thing makes some good jokes, makes some bad jokes. So in my opinion, I feel like there's so many issues with the writing, the plot, the way the story is structured, how some things make sense and how some things don't make sense. But the reason why I think the audience is loving this movie is simply because when the movie ended, like when it finally ended and it showed like the Disney, there's this thing where it showed like the Disney logo, there was like a castle and then the wishing star went like this, and the movie just wrapped up itself with a nice bow. Couldn't help but just get up and start clapping. You feel that way, yeah? Because the ending has given you that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. So I feel like this is a movie that a lot of like children will enjoy, not really adults. If you're an adult, that's okay. Maybe you put it for like your kid or something. If you're looking for something that you can just put on screen and be on TikTok and haha, laugh for a bit, you'll probably love this one. But on a writing level, it's very disappointing. It's one of the most basic Disney movies I've ever watched. Most basic characters, most basic generic villain, most basic story you can ever think of. When I see the critics giving it a 40 what, a 46 or whatever score that they gave it, yeah, a 48 as of the time that I'm recording this, I'm not shocked, because on a writing level, it's very generic and very basic. The audience just liked it simply because it's a feel good, polite, safe family flick that everyone can just watch. But it's not anything insane or memorable like, let's say, Encanto. In fact, the lead character reminds me of Isabel from Encanto. So I kept remembering Encanto and how much I loved this one. But this one, I agree with the critics. This one, I give it like a 5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to smash like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of this movie if you've watched it. If you haven't seen it, tell me why you're not going to go see it, or why you watched this review and where I'm spoiling everything. But if you've seen it and you disagree with me, comment below, tell me what you think, and then I'll see you in the next one.